You are now listening to Ride With Me, the Fraternity Podcast.
Welcome to Ride With Me, episode 129. Today is January 25, 2025. And let me get with my spiel before I introduce my guest. Guys, the hotline. I've been saying it over and over again. I need those voicemails. Come on. You know you want to hear the sound of your voice in the podcast. The number is 818-806-8595. You can follow me on Instagram, Ride With Me Podcast. On YouTube, FTA Podcast. And then if you're listening on Spotify, hit that follow button. Leave a comment. I'm also on iHeartRadio, Pandora, Apple Podcast. You know, rate the podcast. If I'm doing a shitty job, just fucking let me know. I'm not a interviewer, so if I'm fucking up, let me know. Also, just give a shout out to the sponsor of the podcast, LABRANDPERLA. He actually came over last weekend and he gave us all sweaters, and I have to say, man, they're good quality sweaters. Thick, cozy, warm, and yeah, go give him a shout. LABRANDPERLA on Instagram, LA Brand. There, he educated me on that one last week. LABRANDPERLA, or www.per-la.com. Go check out his merch, guys. And sorry. And guess who's back? Back again.
What's up, guys?
Shady's back. Shady's back. Officer Ricky's back on the podcast.
Hey, guys, it's been a long time. I know, but glad to be back.
It's been a while to try to get you out of your house, bro.
Yeah, it's been, I guess a year now, because, I mean, right when my daughter was born, we shot one, maybe a month or two after, and then
that was it. Rick,
yeah.
I've been begging this guy. Begging this guy. We actually had an idea of having his friend come on the podcast, and nada.
Yeah, it's he does right now. He's trying to start his practice, so that's where a lot of his time and energy is going right now. But he'll definitely come eventually. Yeah, 100%. He's trying to get that going right now.
So I had to bribe them to come over with food.
Yeah.
So
great.
He's here.
Thank you, Letty. Amazing breakfast.
Yeah. So
and a good babysitter.
Right. And so yeah, Ricky's here. He's on the podcast. I figured for some of you that are new listeners and probably haven't had a chance to catch up to every episode, Ricky was like a regular, and at one point he hashtagged himself the co-host of the podcast. Yep. And so he's been MIA. So I thought that this episode would reintroduce him and get you guys, the new listeners, to get to know who Ricky is. But first, man, dude, those kids on the bicycle last week. Yeah. The ones that were running through the freeway and on the streets. Yeah. It was two kids. On the dirt bikes. Yeah. First it was 2 kids, and then it ended up being like 20 of them. Yeah. Was that in your jurisdiction?
It didn't necessarily cross in my jurisdiction. They were still on the freeway, but they hit still LAPD, which is the department that I work at. But no, they rode through like Watts. So I'm still South Central, but they were a little further south of me. But we get them all the time. You know, it's such a constant thing we see all the time with the dirt bikes, just kind of causing havoc out there. But I mean, we see them so much that I'm surprised that actually, like, we usually never chase them, because I mean, it's a risk for them, because again, they're just on a dirt bike. You know, usually they're not wearing helmets, they're driving crazy. So we try not to. The risk to reward on that is the risk is way too high. So we usually don't even pursue them. But I was also surprised that CHP, and I get it, they try to hit a cop, so I understand. But I'm surprised that they really stuck with it to try to apprehend them.
Yeah, by the way, if you guys haven't caught it, Officer Ricky is Officer Ricky here is an officer.
An actual, yeah.
He's at LAPD.
It's not an adult entertainment name.
No, it's really Officer Ricky is exactly what that is. Officer, he's a cop. Every time he comes over, I ask him for a warrant before he comes to my house. I think the news reporter were saying it, that like they just stopped and put gas. Yeah. So that means that the police can get access to the information of the credit card or debit card they used. Yeah,
most likely. I mean, like a lot of times they're like, oh, where are they? Like I said, we usually try to fall back so that way, especially if the helicopter's up, you know, we're being told where they're going, you know, so it usually, it encourages, or not encourages, it usually just, if we're out of sight, the mindset behind that is that they'll most likely not drive as crazy. And you saw this, they kind of, for the most part, stopped running through red lights. They were, actually waiting and for light to turn. And it wasn't until CHP kind of got back behind them because they entered LAX airspace. So the helicopters couldn't go over there, that this kind of started to kind of run through the red lights a little bit again, drive a little bit, slightly more recklessly. So we usually give them a cushion. But yeah, I mean, unfortunately, the criminals don't they're not the smartest people sometimes, and they don't realize that, oh man, I just paid card.
Yeah.
With this.
And I think at one point, the news reporters were like, you know what, this is ridiculous. Yeah. We just got to get back to our regular schedule program.
Yeah.
So they cut it. They cut the feed. So I didn't even know they went to LAX.
Yeah. So that's also the reason why, too, the newscasters cut it, because once they hit the air, because so we can go in for a little further than the normal choppers, obviously. But even us, we're restricted to, that airspace, so we can get a little closer, but not that much more. And so once they lost a visual, because again they just couldn't get any further, the newscaster was like, you know what,
forget this,
we're out of here.
It's just sad that most of those riders look like kids.
Well, yeah, I mean that's the unfortunate part, especially as kids, there's no discipline now in almost any part, in school, in the household for the most part. And even with, the law where, and I get it, they're just kids being kids, so they don't want to necessarily, I guess, have some type of long-term effect. But at the same time too, when there's no repercussions, they're going to continue to kind of run amok and act wild.
The different topic, not different topic, but like different scenario is the people that are looting the houses for the burnt houses.
Yeah.
I've seen multiple signs that say, "We will shoot."
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's signs that say looters will be shot.
Oh, well, you know what it is actually is, so I was talking to a few of the guys that have been staged down there, and a lot of these like wealthy people that have their houses down there, so they hired private security companies. And, they're there to protect their property. So we're there as like, we're trying to, the whole area, but we obviously allow people to,
enter?
Not enter, but like hire own to protect their own private property.
Yeah.
So they have legit companies, private companies that are watching just one house, like, hey, watch, this, my house. There's even, I didn't even know this, but there's private firefighters too, where wealthy people are buying or hiring private firefighting companies to come and just water down my house pretty much. Didn't even know that existed.
They gave, there's this guy that I guess he went on social media. I think he went on X, and he said, like, he posted saying, hey, firefighters, I will pay you a lot of money to come defend my house. And I think years ago, there was a fire in Calabasas, and I think they give Kim Kardashian a hard time because she tried to do the same exact thing, or she hired private firefighters. And their mentality, people are getting upset because it's like, wait, we need every area to be protected, not just your house. Yeah. So, I heard after he was fucking shitted on, he removed the post. But I mean, honestly, dude.
But they're private companies. They're not like with the city or county. They're not like, where I guess our tax dollars are going. They're like the private securities. Yeah. They're private firefighting companies, but they have their own, fire truck that has, their hundreds, thousands of gallons, and they're just protecting just that one house because again, it's a private company. It's not like a city entity.
If I had the money, bro, I would have done the same thing.
100%.
I would have done the same thing.
100%. Yeah. No, I don't. Especially, like you said, if you have the money, you're protecting, 100%. I don't knock them for it.
I know last episode I said that I didn't feel bad for celebrities that lost their house because they have the money to rebuild, right?
Yeah.
And then after, hearing stories and stuff like that, I started feeling like shit. I'm like, damn. They lost their house, but they also lost their memories.
I was going to say,
shit, I'm like, fuck. Should I go? I asked my brother Danny, I'm like, hey, should I go back and delete that part? He's like, it was freedom of speech, bro. I'm like, but I feel bad now.
Well, it's like anything, right? I think for the most part they get what you meant, that they're going to be fine because they can obviously buy another home, but it is messed up because, like you said, that at the end they're also losing their memories too.
Yeah.
Though. You know, that's the unfortunate part.
There was, I'm not sure which celebrity it was, but he's like, I got 3 more houses.
Yeah.
I got 3 more houses.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a sad situation and stuff. And just like I said, he's back to these kids, man. It's like, there's no, like George and I said a few episodes back, it's just like, there's no more TV dads. There's no more, both parents have to be working. These kids aren't freaking, being watched, being educated, being lectured, being, like for example, my son freaking, now that he's not in band, and that's a different story, but his grades started slipping again.
Yeah.
So I'm like, give me your phone. You can't touch the PlayStation. Give me your phone. I knew, and I told the wife, I knew this shit was going to happen.
Yeah.
Because before, I can say, do your homework, raise your grades, or I'm pulling you out of band. Now that he's not in band.
Now it's like, well, what, for what now?
Exactly.
What am I doing this for?
So,
yeah.
Obviously these kids don't have someone checking their grades.
Yeah. Well, not only that, it's just, again, it's like, okay, well, what are you going to do?
Mm-hmm.
And then, I feel like all they do now is they realize too is that if I just throw a tantrum, or act out, then I'll still get what I want.
Yeah.
Because that's what I see all the time. Like we just had a call the other day where, this kid literally was like choking his mom because he's 14 because she turned off
the Wi-Fi.
No, that, yeah, I mean, I had that too, but she just turned off the PlayStation. She turned it off, said, hey, that's it, you're done, you gotta do chores, lost his shit, and just like went ape shit.
Yeah, I'm hearing a lot of more of those cases where the teenager loses his shit because he lost his electronics or whatever. Yeah. My wife says it, man. We sleep with our door locked because we don't know which one of our kids are gonna fucking stab us.
Yeah, I mean, it's an unfortunate thing. Like my wife and I, we know, we watch a bunch of those shows, and that's what happens. These kids they get mad, because again, they don't understand repercussions, and unfortunately, sometimes they do stuff like that.
Yeah,
it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, there was a case about a month ago, maybe a month and a half ago. We all got a letter in the mail, and I'm sorry, we got an email that a student of the kid's school passed away.
Yeah.
And I had a parent hit me up, Sam. His name is Sam. He said, "Hey, did you get this email?" I'm like, "Yeah, but I don't know which kid passed away."
Mm-hmm. And
then as we're talking, and then I remembered, oh shit! On the 26th of December, there was this kid killed his siblings and his mom with a knife in Baldwin Park, bro.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what, bro? I think it might have been the kid that passed away, the one that got stabbed. And he's like, oh shit, you're right. And then this was because obviously it was winter break, and the kids went back to school after winter break, and they're like, yeah, Dad, it was that kid. I'm like, oh fuck, that's crazy. That's crazy.
You can only think about what was the circumstance there, like, that's the unfortunate part.
Yeah, no. Sometimes the way that Jojo looks at us, bro, I'm like, fuck, this kid's, fuck it. I'm gonna have to hire you to come fucking sleep over here and
stand guard your bedroom.
Yep.
Just at the end of the hallway, right there.
Yeah. Just guard that hallway, bro.
Yeah.
Shoot on command, bro. If you see movement, shoot.
Yeah.
You see the cat move? Okay, well, still shoot.
Like, did you see a series of unfortunate events?
Which one's that one?
With Jim Carrey, the Lemmy Snicket.
Sorry.
Lemmy Snicket, a series of unfortunate event with Jim Carrey.
I don't think I've seen that one.
Oh, it's a good one. But anyways, there's a part in the scene where he's trying to get these kids because their parents died and they're very wealthy, and so he wants to be their guardian to get their money. There's a scene because he lost guardianship of them because he keeps trying to kill them so he can get the money. Jim Carrey,
I gotta watch it.
Yeah, and no, it's great. But anyways, there's a scene though where they're with their uncle, and they're trying to like go let him know, like, hey, because he's in disguise, like, hey, this is the Count, he's after us. So he's in the hallway and as soon as like the door creaks, he stops and he goes, "Do you have a hall pass?" So he closed the door. So he's there with the knife, just waiting.
No shit.
So
I gotta watch it.
No, it's good. It's good.
I gotta watch. I think I was a big Jim Carrey fan in the 90s, and then the moment he started like drifting into like that, remember that 23 movie?
Yeah,
wasn't a fan of it.
I didn't watch it.
And it's dark. It's dark. That's why I wasn't a fan of it. And then he got into like, I think he started doing like kids movies. The Grinch is classic.
Of course.
You got to watch that one. But he started drifting into like other movies. Now he's doing Sonics.
Yeah.
The Sonic, those are great movies.
Well, that fits more like his character, where he's just still like, that goofy, but still great actor.
Yeah.
That still adds, just very versatile, but can add still comedic relief.
Yeah.
But
enough about fires, kids, and hooligans and Jim Carrey. Let's get to know Ricky again, since it's been a minute since he's been on here. For those of you again that have started recently listening and are listening, and you're listening to my podcast in reverse, that's what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
You're listening in reverse. Officer Ricky is what we call in Spanish my concuño, because he married my sister-in-law. He actually is a homewrecker. And just kidding. He'll tell that story, what I mean by that. And so, yeah, no, I mean, out of everybody in the family, I think Ricky and I'm closer to Ricky than I am anybody else. And it's funny because I would say, you're the youngest one of the family, and I'm the oldest one of the family, and of the siblings, and we get along good.
Yeah.
And so... Sorry, see what happens when you drink coffee before you do podcast, bro? God.
I knew it was a mistake, that's why I didn't do it.
I do the best I can to turn off my microphone when I'm going to cough, but I'm sure your microphone still picks it up.
Yeah, 100%.
So, yeah.
100%.
Right? So, sorry, guys. I had coffee before I started recording this podcast. It was so good, though. Anyways, Ricky, let's talk to you, man. Let's, what is it? You were born here in Cali?
Yeah. I was, born here. I grew up majority half my life in Sylmar, the Sylmar area, so like the San Fernando Valley, and then the remaining half was in Eagle Rock, Highland Park. That's it, and then went to Cal State Northridge, played basketball there for 2 years on their team. And then
real quick, I like the story you've said before about the importance of parents going to the games. I think you said your uncle was a big supporter, right? Your uncle or your grandpa?
My grandpa. Yeah. So I played basketball growing up. My parents put me in basketball around, I believe it was 6 or 7. And played travel ball and everything. And so since my dad, he's a general contractor, has his own business, he's able to, whenever I had practices or game, always was there. My mom too, for the most part. But even when we traveled everywhere with my travel team. My dad always went. But a big thing too, though, was that my grandpa, when he was alive, he went to all my games, always there. My dad would always be at the top row because he was recording. Because after the games, he would do film with me. So I would have my game,
like your coach,
like a coach. So I would have to play the game. And then where I messed up on, we would watch it at home. And he would edit it and everything.
No shit.
Yeah. So hey, you messed up here, you fucked up here. But then also hey, but look, you see this there? You did this good. But we would go over it with film. But the best part was always because my grandpa was always in the front though. And so my mom would either be with my dad or come down with my grandpa. My grandpa, always front. So that was cool to see. So then, but when he passed away in 2005, and that stopped. And for a while, that was you're kind of even though there wasn't a seat, you look over and you feel that there is an empty seat. Yeah. While you're kind of going through that phase. So, obviously, you overcome and adapt. But
were you close with your grandpa?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, no, that was my hero.
Why was he your hero? Yeah. Follow up question, bro. Hey, the podcast has changed, bro. I have questions now.
Yeah, that's different.
All right. We used to just flow back in the day. Now I have questions,
you've
bro.
You've gotten better.
Of course. I listen to a lot of Michael Rosenbaum's podcasts, bro. The next thing I'm going to say is I'm going to be inside of you right now.
Yeah, no. Well, I mean, like anything, obviously, your dad is usually number one. But again, since he ran his own business.
Must be nice to have a dad.
Yeah. Daddy wasn't there. No, but he worked a lot too though. So if it wasn't a game or something like that, my grandpa was pretty much, dropping us off at school, picking us up. And since my mom was his only, so he's my grandpa on my mom's side. My other grandparents live in Washington, where my dad's from. So he was really just our main grandparent with our grandma. Cause again, they both lived here in Eagle Rock. So, and my mom being the only child, we were his only grandkids. So yeah, he put full attention. Yeah,
favoritism,
full
like a
attention. Oh,
motherfucker.
100%.
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna pretend. 100%. And so,
well, when my grandma passed away, at her viewing, like literally like a few months later, it was like I think like 3 years. Yeah, about 3 years ago. We were talking about I don't know what the conversation came up, and they're like, "Oh, you were your grandma's favorite." I'm like, "Me? How? I didn't even live with her." They said, "Oh no, you were her favorite." And I was like, and then my brother Danny was there, and my brother Albert was there, and they're like, my brother Danny was like, "Oh, hands down, bro, you were her favorite. We don't hold any animosity for you or any anger towards you. You were her fucking favorite."
it was just known.
Yeah, it was. She made it known. Everybody that came over to the house, and she had pictures of me. See this picture frame right here? This little square thing right here. That was in her living room. And she would say, mi hijo right here.
No
That's my
way.
favorite. She did it one day in front of my mother, dude.
No way.
Yeah, this is my favorite. And Danny said that she knew my life, how I was being raised. So she always had like a little special place in her heart for me. So yeah, she's like, hands down, bro, you were the favorite.
Yeah.
Feels good to be the favorite, huh, bro?
Yeah, I mean, especially, being the only boy too, because I just have two sisters. I'm in the middle. But yeah, no, he did a lot for us. He did a lot for my parents. Made their lives easier because they both work. My mom's a surgical tech. Like I said, my dad's a general contractor. So dad was always working. If it wasn't for like an event or game, it was really just my grandpa kind of doing everything else for us. And, and not only that though, the reason why though he was very special to me at least was the fact that he made time for everybody. It didn't matter if, and it can be, okay, he went on his morning walks at 4 a.m. because he's Army vet,
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, Army vet, everything, so no matter what routine was, go in the morning for a 4 a.m. walk, and then be in LA or San Fernando Valley to take us to school at 8 a.m. Go to Riverside, help out some family members, go over here, do this, and still be at our school at 2:30, knowing that we're going to get up at 3 o'clock. Because he would always see him. He would always be the first. His truck would pull up.
No shit.
And at 2:30, every time we see him. And he would already help 5 or 6 other people. I don't know how he did it. He was like some form of time traveler, but he always found ways to just make time for people and make sure that, everyone that needed help, gets help, but still be there to pick up. He was never late.
Shit, was his car DeLorean?
Yeah, I know.
Oh, you said truck, huh?
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know how he did it. And, like I said, can't even find time to do a podcast. But this guy said it was literally because my grandma's family are in Riverside. Because he's originally, he was a Spaniard. And originally his family was from New Mexico.
Okay.
So his family was just my grandma's family. So, and they're all in Riverside. So he just found time for everyone.
That's crazy, man.
So
that's awesome.
Yeah, so that's why he was someone definitely looked up to, because again, he helped everyone. Everyone just has so much respect for this guy.
That's crazy. Respect. That's awesome, dude.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Next topic, please. Anyways, let's see what else. And so like I said, he went to your basketball games, and then I've met your parents. They're pretty cool people. Your dad makes a mean ass birria.
Yeah.
And by the way, his dad, Ricky's dad, was on the podcast also talking about the history of the birria and the recipe and everything.
Yeah,
and
that's a crazy one. Yeah.
If you guys are going backwards, you guys got to go all the way to the 20s and get to that one. He makes a mean ass birria. How was the relation? Okay, you talked about your grandpa. What about your relationship with your parents?
Great. I mean, great. They're again very supportive. Like my sisters would probably say, to them, I was a favorite. I don't think it was necessarily that being the favorite. It was more just I was the only boy that was into sports. And since that's what my dad was big into, and they will say the reason why, because we literally prioritized our vacations around my basketball schedule. So.
Oh, you're one of them, huh?
Yeah, I was one of those.
Fuck you.
So if I had something going on, is what it is. It's basketball took the priority.
That's why your sisters hate you, bro.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I wouldn't say I was on a pedestal, but just because, basketball was going well for me, that, cause I played for Kenny Smith's team. He's an ex-NBA player, 2-time NBA champion. I was on his team. They're based out of South Korea. So obviously he has a lot of connections, stuff like that. So, my dad pretty much put all the time and effort into that, so that to have me succeed as best as I can in that field. But again, that comes a long time too, because my dad, growing up in Washington, his dad was a pastor. My grandma, she was blind. His thing was actually mountain bike racing. And so when he come to Washington, he would have first place trophies every time with 0 sponsors. But when it came to, trying to ask his parents, again, his dad, old school, his thing was always work, work, work. You're not getting money first of all, you're not going to go see him race. Secondly, you're not going to get anything to get a new bike, and then the sponsors, it's just a small town. So I think that's the reason why, though, he took priority, since he didn't get that support, that he made sure that I did. And so that's what I'm trying to pass on as well.
Gotcha. That's cool.
Yeah. So relationship is really cool,
And, I, to this day, the kids make fun of me, bro. To this day. It's like, dude, you beat our dad in basketball and you were in chanclas? To this day. I thought I had an easy win, man. He freaking beat me in his chanclas, dude.
Yeah.
So
not too much basketball going on now. I still play for LAPD, has a team that I still play for. So I still play basketball, but as you know, my new thing is for the last probably 2 years now, it has been golf, and I've been diving in deep on that.
Fucking nerd, dude. Nerd.
What can I say, man? It is a great sport, and we have, when basketball beats you up, it is nice on the knees.
Yeah. So the thing about Ricky is that he's really good at getting into the interests of his brother-in-laws. So with me, we podcast. Mm-hmm. That's right? What else would we do, bro?
Well, we would do a bike ride,
but then your ass would hurt.
Yeah, but come on, dude.
So I took Ricky on a bike ride. I'm not used to taking
a pounding.
Hey, that's me being inside of you, bro. And but Ricky, that's the kind of person that Ricky is. Like you're gonna go on a bike ride? Okay, let me give it a shot. Yeah. And then podcasting. He's actually the reason why I have these specific microphones, because he gave me a microphone. Mm-hmm. Oh, you see the new filters?
Yeah, I saw them. And I was like, where are the old ones?
The old ones are over there if you want them. Yeah, he actually gave me my first microphone. No, he gave me a microphone because at first I was working off the machine, and he was like, no, it doesn't sound good. And I was like, oh shit, I like this one. So Ricky likes to find a way to, like whatever hobby you're into, he'll try it. Because that's the kind of person he is. So my brother-in-law, my wife's brother, he's into golf. And so he went and got interested in like, okay, let's see what's up. And now when we're at family gatherings, that's all they fucking talk about.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I was one of those that like, oh, golf, it's slow. It's boring. And then, cause I played baseball here and there, not, definitely not crazy. And then when I went to go play golf, and then, you do see how challenging it is. You're like, okay, let me try a little bit more. Yeah. Okay, more and more. And then you're like, this is dope. This is just
I've gone a couple of times with Ricky just to the driving range. And I told him, if I can't master the driving range, I'm not going to go play with you guys.
What I like, though, about the course is that, one, you're on a golf course. And you're this beautiful scenery. You're outside with your boys. And you're just drinking, smoking a cigar. And
that's 2 things I don't do right there, bro. There are 3: golf, smoking, and drinking.
Well, you can drive.
I'll carry your bags. I can carry bags.
And then you're just, but it's still at the end of the day, it's still a challenge. And I love competition, so competing. So like to me, outdoors, drinking with, your boys, but still competing, it hits a different type of thing where it's like the next chapter. We're like, man, this is a fun thing. So that's why I stuck with it.
I sent Ricky a meme the other day that says, they call me 007, 0 birdies, 0 pars, 7 double bogeys, whatever. I don't know what the fuck that means. Yeah. And Ricky responds, I feel attacked. So,
yeah. A lot doesn't mean I'm good though.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's like, when I like the other day when you guys sent the photo of you and our brother-in-law golfing and shit, I'm like, dude, you're like the brother he never had. So no, that's good. Like I said, that's the thing about Ricky is that he came into this family. He's the last one to come into this family. Yeah. He pretty much adapted with everyone, what everybody likes to do. The guys pretty much whatever they like to do, he'll do it. And he got fond with golf, and like I said, I've gone with him to the driving range and shit. There's a couple of times at work where we're having raffles and I'm trying to shoot for the golf bag. Yeah. Like this last, back in December, we had a company. It was a Secret Santa. Not Secret Santa, I'm sorry. The white elephant.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck, I'm going to go for that. I'm like, because Ricky's a cool dude, even though he hasn't been on a fucking podcast. My numbers have dropped dramatically because of him. But my goal was to get you the golf bag.
Mhm.
My buddy Juan, he's the one that took the bag home.
Oh,
And some kid got it.
Juan.
Some kid got it, and then Juan went and took it from him. So
yeah, golf bags are expensive, but again, they're very useful though. So yeah. No,
so
great.
that's like I said, that's the kind of person that Ricky is, and it's like I admire him for that because he's like, he wants to get along with everybody. Even though he was a homewrecker. And then what about, okay, we talked about your parents. What about the relationship with your sisters? How's
I mean, great. It's they're in so yeah, they both moved to Bakersfield. So
dude, there's nothing in Bakersfield, bro.
I know.
There's
I told
nothing
them,
but pure evil.
Yeah, I told them, but I mean, I get it. It's cheaper there.
There's people that left Oxnard and moved to Bakersfield, and I'm like, that's one less evil in Oxnard.
Yeah. No, I mean, so my relationship with them is great. We try to talk. I wouldn't say every day, but for sure at least a couple times a week. When we're together, it's like anything. It's like you guys never left. It's just obviously I don't see them as much because they're in Bakersfield. But I mean, we FaceTime because they both have kids. So FaceTime with them to see the kids, so the cousins can see each other. Yeah, no, I mean,
and it's cool environment. Like we, back in December, you had a birthday party for my arch enemy, your 1-year-old,
yeah.
And they were there, and they're always good people to talk to.
Yeah,
your dad's good people. He's nothing but good people in Rick's family.
For the most part, yeah, we're pretty chill. I mean, we're only 5 of us, so I mean, it's not like there's a ton of people where like you have to start and mesh all these personalities and stuff together. That's kind of the only good side, I guess, when it comes to having somewhat of a smaller family, is that you don't have to try to intermingle with a lot of different personalities.
Yeah.
So no one really feels left out. So that's cool.
That's cool. And then, so, you originally had, studied something else, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't to be a cop, right?
No. I actually was, I got my bachelor's degree in kinesiology because I wanted to be a physical therapist.
Yo, slow down, bro. Slow down. What the fuck did you just say?
Kinesiology is the study of the body. Yeah.
Okay.
So study of the body.
What the fuck? I was like,
yeah. It's just like a science, and but it was because I wanted to be a physical therapist for the longest time. I wanted to be specifically in sports.
Somebody got shot. Don't worry about it. There's no point there, bro. Don't trip.
Dude,
your cop fucking.
Yeah, I was like,
your spidey sense, your police senses, bro.
So I heard, I was like, is that coming closer or is that coming further?
That's all right.
Yeah. So that's initially what I wanted to do, but I was doing a program because when you're in the physical therapy program in CSUN, you work as a physical therapist assistant, and so I was working at first in the sports side, like with the team, and that was dope. I loved it. I was like, yeah, that's exactly what I want to do, because I mean, they're athletes that want to get better,
right?
And then knowing that you're like working out with them, so it was cool.
And that profession could have got a job like for like let's say for like the LA Lakers, right? You could have been the LA Lakers physical therapist.
For sure, and coincidentally, I had a connect to go in, so I thought, oh man, like it is a possibility.
Yeah.
Like, okay, cool. Yeah, a family friend, he's one of the lawyers for the Lakers, and he knew the P at the time. Her name was Judy, and so I'm like, this is a possibility. But little did I know that it was going to take actually years because you got to get established. You have to get proven that, hey, you're as good to work with a professional team. And then when I worked on the other side of like, just regular like residential, like, it was more like older population and people coming from car accidents that are just doing it for the insurance. And so, like, okay, like, oh, but this hurts. I don't like to do it. You're like begging your patients, like, I know, but we still got to do it. I know it hurts, but maybe we'll just reduce it. So I was like, I don't want to argue with people all the time. Just get better.
Yeah.
I'm trying to help you out, in your injury or whatever it is. Like, I know it didn't cause discomfort, but, so I got discouraged. I'm like, I don't know if I can do this for this long.
Well, the wife, my wife, she works for a physical therapist.
Yeah.
And she's like the coordinator intake or some fancy bullshit, right? Yeah. And sometimes they call her because she needs to translate. And I can hear the frustration in the doctor, the physical therapist, saying, she needs to do this. She needs to do that and this and that. She's not doing it. And then you hear my wife, well, he's saying that if you don't do these exercises, you're not going to live very long. So, do you want to be a vegetable? Like, not like that. Not in a rude way, but it's like you can hear the frustration in the doctor's voice because they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. Like, they can't only be doing it when I'm here.
Yeah.
And I saw first, what do you call it? What's it called? First, witness of this. When I went to go visit my grandma right before she passed away, a physical therapist came to see her, and she was fucking stubborn. I'm like, Mom, I call her Mom, you gotta listen to the lady. She's like, hey, pa que chingada. I'm like, Mom, you gotta listen to the lady. And then, but I think they're alright because like 4 months later she was gone.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because at the end of the day, it's just, I get it, right? It hurts, doesn't feel good, especially now you're asking people that don't work out to work out, and it's after like a surgery or an accident where that already, area is probably tender, sore, weak, so it's very discouraging. I don't want to do it. But again, it was that battle. And I'm like, this is terrible. So
that discouraged you. And what made you focus into police?
So I was at a college buddy. He's also a cop. His name's Patrick. And, I was at his apartment. And it was after I was having that realization, and so we're drinking. I told him, because he was like one of my best buddies in college. And I was like,
real quick, what year was this?
Oh man, 2016.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I was like, hey Pat, I don't want to be a physical therapist. And he's like, okay, so what are you gonna do? I'm like, I don't know. I do not know. So we're kind of going back and forth. I'm like, because I was genuinely scared. I'm gonna graduate this year, and for something that I don't want to do anymore. And I've just wasted now 3-4 years. What? I'm going to start all over now?
And your parents' wallet.
Yeah. No, my debt. They didn't, it wasn't like our wives where their parents pay for it. No. I got all that debt.
Let me delete that part.
Yeah, no, I got all that debt still. So, I was kind of freaking out. I'm like, dude, I'm going to graduate, pretty much next year. And, I don't know what I want to do because I don't want to do this. And so we were, he was like, well, what do you want to do? I don't know. And he's like, well, what are your interests? And so I just mentioned well, I really want to fly. I've really been into aviation. I want to be a pilot, but I just but I want to make bank, bro. I don't know. I mean, also I never looked into it. I don't know, if they make good money or not. I mean, I don't know. So I just made that out. I was like, I just don't know where they make good money.
Right.
And so he was like, well, actually, I'm going to an LAPD seminar tomorrow, and I know they have an air unit, to fly helicopters. Why don't you come with me tomorrow? And I was like, I'm a cop. I'm Mexican, dude. You don't like them.
Shit, you're my brother-in-law. I don't like it.
Yeah, I'm like, we're not supposed.
It's awkward.
We're not supposed to. In my house right now, we're not supposed to associate with them. And I was like, I mean, F it, right? I mean, I'm like, fuck, I'm going with my boy. Cause we'll make a day of it. We'll go over here. It's somewhere in downtown. Not downtown, by LAX. After that, we'll hit the beach. So I'm like, fuck, I'll hang out with the homie. So, I went, listened to them, they talked about the benefits, how much they start off. And I was like, oh, it sounds kind of chill.
Do you and your boy have a fucking portrait of you guys together and signed it with, we ride together, we die together. Bad boys for life? So
I mean, almost essentially.
I just introduced the boys to that movie.
Really? Yeah. So I went home, did some more Googling, found out that the air support makes a fucking shit ton of money for LAPD. So I was like, and then I only have to be a cop for, it says minimum of 4 years. I was like, oh shit. That's kind of dope. I was like, okay. Yeah. I can sacrifice that's pretty much going to school again for another 4 years.
Yeah.
I can do that. I can do another 4 years and then try to, be air support. So I applied and, I got in on October of 2017. And yeah, I mean, the rest from there, I mean, is kind of history.
He missed out. He left out a part around the academies where he became a homewrecker.
Yeah.
So he he met my sister-in-law at the academy. Same thing. I think she was going to school for the same exact thing,
she was.
bro.
Yeah, she was.
And something, I think she was in an accident. She was in an accident. She got T-boned or something like that.
Yeah, by a drunk driver in a stolen car.
Yeah, so she, I guess she said that the way that the police officer handled everything and the paramedics or whatever, something in that chaos made her be like, you know what? I want to be a cop too.
Yeah, she didn't like the way the cops handled the situation. So she was like, you know what?
I want to be a better cop.
I can do better.
So she ended up being at the academy, and then I met Ricky. I think it was
Lati's birthday.
It was. Did you already have graduate?
No.
Okay. So yeah, my wife's 30th birthday. We had it at a brother-in-law's house, and there comes.
So we're 3 months in.
There you guys were 3 months in the police academy, barely.
Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah.
So he comes over. He knows he's coming to a birthday party, so he doesn't show up empty-handed. He gave the birthday girl a bottle of wine, right?
Yeah, wine.
And then, but my sister-in-law was still dating.
We both were dating someone.
You guys were both dating someone.
Yeah.
Home records, both of them. and Officer Ricky here, freaking. That's how I introduced everybody to Officer Ricky. And I guess at one point you guys were in the jumper.
Yeah.
And my wife called it. Ooh, homeboy has competition. He better watch out because he's gonna lose my sister. And here we are today.
Yeah. No, I mean, it was so the way it started was that we were in the academy you get assigned to a table. Oh my God. You get assigned to a table, but it's just by coincidence or just by I don't know. It's like a random selection. And the buddy that I'm close with, the one that talked at my wedding, he also went to CSUN and got the degree in the exact same thing, graduated the exact same year I did. And we're both basketball players. Yeah. So him and I instantly got close because again, we just had a lot in common. And because my buddy Patrick, he went through it a year before me, he already kind of gave me the blueprint. Cause he wanted me to go with him, but I still had one more year of college left and he was already graduating.
Yeah.
So he started a year before me. So he gave me the blueprint. And so when when my buddy Chris, that's his name, found out that, hey, I know a little bit more, like I'm not totally blind in this. He naturally like, okay, this guy here has some form of knowledge or blueprint. He just gravitated like, okay, cool. I'm gonna just follow this guy.
Yeah.
So we instantly kind of, grew with that connection. And then, my wife, Bethy, she was on our table as well. And so, you form study groups and then we just we had another guy, but he wouldn't involve. He would come here and there to come study with us and stuff. But it was really just like my buddy Chris and his wife and then me and Bethy.
Yeah.
Cause they had their own spot. So it was a little easier to not be too distracted with or going to
easy to put the moves on.
Yeah. So it was almost like a double.
He didn't deny it.
Yeah. It was almost like a double date every time we went to go study at their house, and cause too, they lived by the academy, by the LAX one. So, it was just like the convenient. And yeah, it was, so we kind of grew and then we both realized that our significant others were lacking in a lot of things that we were looking for and that we kind of found in each other. And so shortly after we talked about it. We're like, hey, before we move forward, we got to find out, are we going to move forward or are we going to, and break up with our significant others or are we going to just forget about each other and stay with our significant others? So we talked about it and then we're like, time to let go. The baggage.
Honestly, dude, now I'm not bagging on the guy. Not bagging on the guy. But he wouldn't podcast. If he wouldn't do this, he wouldn't golf. He wouldn't the most I did with that kid was I think zombies one day.
Yeah.
And we had a challenge of who can get the most headshots. Because when I play zombies, all I goes for headshots.
Yeah.
And he was all bent out of shape. No, dude, dude, shut the fuck up. That was the last thing I ever did with him. Was play zombies. So yeah, he was he was a cocky kid.
Yeah.
Hopefully that breakup maybe humbled him a little bit. That's what he needed. He needed to be humbled.
Yeah.
And but real quick, why did you feel that this family was a better fit than your ex's family?
Yeah.
I like that story.
Yeah. So, my ex she's Filipino and Hispanic. and both her parents were engineers, or they are engineers for Boeing, and like high positions in Boeing as engineers. So, like any Asian family, high expectations and everything. And I was always a very respectable and kid. That's just the way my parents raised me. And I don't know, even though no matter what, I was a kid and everything, so college, but I was like, they treated me like crap for the most part, even like to the point to where her dad's brother was like, hey, how come you're giving Ricky such a hard time? Like this, like, he's a good kid, he's going to school, he has a job, like he's hitting on the tears as you would as a kid that's trying to do the right thing. At the end of the day, doesn't treat your daughter bad. He never has her, because that's my thing too. Like as a guy, you should be the one to, for the most part, always drive. So I'm the one always picking her up. I'm not like, hey, you come to my, and again, she lived all the way in West Hills, and I'm over here in Eagle Rock, so I'm driving over there. I'm doing that 45-minute drive to West Hills,
To only feel uncomfortable.
Huh?
To only feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, so I never really felt that. I felt like her family gave me that respect and love. But when it came to like her parents, it was just like cold. And it wasn't honestly until I got in the academy that they kind of started to somewhat embrace me. But at that point, it was like,
you already tapped out.
Yeah, I'm like, nah, like I'm already out.
Yeah.
And then on that, just my ex also. I mean, again, no disrespect to her, because she was a great person. I'm not gonna say that she was, because she is. She just she didn't know what she wanted to do either, and she just wasn't at the same wavelength that I was at, where I'm like, I'm ready to start a career and everything. I'm not saying that my way of thinking is correct, but I was just like, I felt like there wasn't that connection anymore. And now I have this person that fits everything else. And then you come
to Letty's 30th birthday party, and you see what?
Yeah.
Everyone's so welcoming.
Yeah. No, everyone, yeah. And so
that's the thing about this family, bro, is that no one is, I think only I was, but nobody's really, they don't really treat anybody with, they treat them with open arms.
100%. Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, even with me, maybe they wouldn't say it in front of me, but they would tell my wife, hey, I don't know, he's got 2 kids, he's got 3 kids, he's got baggage and stuff like that. But dude, they still treated me with open arms. I mean, one of them didn't talk to me for 2 years, but I let that go. And but no, they're like I said, very opening and everything, welcoming, and it's just like, all right. So when I asked for her hand in marriage, I told my mother-in-law and my father-in-law, I told them I found my family.
Yeah.
But that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
No. Anyways,
no, but it's true though, because like I said before too, last time, I think probably one of the first times that when I podcasted with you, was that this family reminded me a lot of my family, where same thing, my family, even my extended family, very welcoming. Everyone's just like, let's have a good time, good vibe. So I felt that I connected just more, not only with Bethy, but with their family as well, where I'm like, no, these are dope people. Where like, I'm not just on Bethy's side, just like, oh man, I can't leave her side because everyone's kind of weird here. No, I think the first part, that's what Uncle Roy said that he liked. Is like, I didn't even see it. I sat with you guys to eat. I didn't even sit with Bethy in the first time when it was like a big party.
Yeah.
I sat down with you guys because I was like, no, everyone's cool here.
Yeah.
There was no one giving you looks or anything. It was cool. So I was like, it was really very welcoming. So.
We just knew that you were here with one purpose.
No, you guys knew I had a gun. That's what it was. That's what it was. We're like, hey, dude, this guy's good. He's got a gun.
He's got a gun. Dude. He's got a gun. I think, and then after that, I think we saw you at the you guys' graduation when you guys both graduated from the academy.
Yeah.
And I took some nice shots of Bethy with I had a small camera, but I got some nice shots, and I'm like, I guess I'll take some shots of this guy, whatever. and I like what the mayor said. He got up there, and when I see him on TV, I'm like, I know him. and he got up there and he gave a speech, and I like that he said that he thanked the parents because he said the way you guys raise these kids is the reason why they're up here. And I was like, yeah, I would have been a shitty cop. They would have fucking my machine would have fucking, hey, we're gonna do a psych evaluation, and the fucking machine would blow up. Yeah, you're not. Get the fuck. Arrest him now. Arrest him now.
Just get him now.
Yeah. So but yeah, and you have been with my sister-in-law. You've been in the family for how long now?
6 years.
6 years. 6 years. Holy shit, Rick.
6 years.
Come talk to me when it's 12, bro.
No.
Like, I know con half, bro. I'm at 12 already. I'm at 12. Shit. But Rick, before we continue on, let's take a little water break.
Yeah.
And then that's something new that I started too.
That is new because I didn't know you take breaks now.
Take water breaks, bro. So.
All right.
Hey, this is Irving Gomringer, founder of Perla. Perla represents my journey. Born in Peru, raised in LA. The name itself combines the two places that shaped me. My brand is all about blending streetwear with simplicity and luxury, something LA is known for, with high-quality garments for those who value style and substance. My vision is to amplify Latino voices in that industry. By rocking with the brand, not only are you making your look stand out, but you're also helping me and all Latinos to be represented and celebrated. So if you're ready to elevate your fit and rep the culture, check out my website at www.per-la.com and on Instagram at LABRANDPERLA. Thanks for supporting Perla and being part of the movement. 10% of the profit will be donated to Action Against Hunger. Thank you.
And we're back. Guys, again, that little promo there, that's my boy Irvin. He was on last week's episode. Go check out his merch. Very comfortable. Speaking of merch, Ricky actually stole. He's really good at stealing. All right, even as a cop, he once stole my son's debit card and was buying Amazon movies or Prime movies, right? And now he's wearing the sweater.
Yeah, no, and it wasn't. He gave it to me. Okay, this was a gift. It actually is very comfortable. Very very warm. Very, and I like it's more almost like an athletic fit, if that makes sense. Where, it feels soft, but it's not like it doesn't feel like that cheap softness. You know what I mean? Where it had like those, just the ones from like downtown. Like you can tell, it's pretty much it's made well.
Dude, I was wearing the hoodie he gave me, and I was in the house, and at one point I was like, I'd take the shit off. It's cold. It's warm. It's warm.
No, it's very comfortable. No, nice, he did a really good job. Irvin, you said his name?
Irvin.
Yeah. Great job, brother. Great job.
So, you met the wife. You met the family. Let's talk about my arch enemy. My arch enemy.
Yeah.
I call her my arch enemy because ever since he had a baby, Ricky don't come around much. But he'll still go golf. That's the part that sucks. You still go golf with our other brother-in-law, but you won't come over here to podcast. In fact, not the last episode. One of the episodes he was on, I went to his house. Yeah. I took my equipment to his house. Yeah. Right now, earlier, we were trying to find the headset. They're in the box because I was going to go to his house just in case he wasn't going to come here. No, you're giving me a fucking podcast, bro. So let's talk about the struggles of baby Gwen.
Yeah. Yeah. So my wife and I, we've been trying, for a few years prior. We felt that it was time and ready, and just, a few ectopic pregnancies, meaning that the egg got stuck in the fallopian tube. So eventually that ended up where my wife needed surgery to remove one. Then it happened again. Now the second one's gone. Now, unfortunately, there's no natural way for us to conceive a child.
I remember that phone call.
Yeah.
Ricky called me. I believe my sister-in-law was at the hospital.
Yeah.
And Ricky called me and he was like, "Where's this God you guys all pray to?" Yeah. I was like, "Ooh, Ricky's losing hope. Oh no."
Right. Well, yeah, because I didn't really know much about any other options. So to me, I was like, no fallopian tubes, meaning
no pregnancies.
That's it. I can't have a kid.
Yeah.
That's it. And so, I mean, it's weird to say, but like with the job that we do now and see the people, that are these crackhead, meth heads, not.
Are you classifying these people?
100%.
Oh, okay.
Where they're just not great people having kids, with no problem. Obviously it does leave kind of like a hopeless type of feeling. You're like, like we only have a bunch of love to offer. These poor children are the ones that are suffering, and because of their parents, they can't choose their parents, but because based off their parents' decisions, they're placed in an unfortunate situation. We're trying to put a child in the best situation that we could at least offer. And we're being, at least at the time, it felt like we're being punished. We can't have it. And not only that, but my wife is suffering because she's the one going through the immense pain of, internal bleeding, severe pain because, again, the fallopian tube now is, it burst, inside. So it led to a lot of like that kind of dark type of like thought for a while until her doctor let us know that, hey, there is other options. And that's where we led with, with our little Gwen was, in vitro fertilization, also known as IVF. So what that means essentially is that, so even though her tubes are gone, she still has her ovaries, which produces the eggs, obviously, and those can be extracted out. So it was obviously very expensive and very time consuming in the sense of like, it's many month-long process. You can't just, oh, let me go in tomorrow. No, there's a type of medication and stuff and all this other stuff that you have to do prior. And so, yeah, we ended up, going through that process. After probably about 6-7 months, they were able to successfully, fertilize, I believe it was 12, viable embryos, meaning there's nothing genetically wrong with them. They've been tested, everything. They survived the incubation process, through everything. We had 12 strong, viable, embryos, 10 boys and 2 girls. So we put 2 in at a time. We put 1 boy, 1 girl, because that just increases the odds in case the body ejects one.
That's a trip how they can tell with this little goo we call sperm. Yeah. They can tell which one's a male and a female.
Yeah, well, I mean, once it becomes in there, I guess it's just like anything, right? It's just if the Y chromosome is in there or not, and so they saw that there was 10 boys and 2 girls, and so we did, like I said, so we
10, put wait, sorry. 10 boys, 2 girls?
Yeah.
And Gwen won?
Gwen
No
won.
shit.
So we put 1 and 1. We put 1 boy, 1 girl. Mm-hmm. The boy became a vanishing twin, or I like to say that Gwen absorbed her brother, because that's what they say. That it's called a vanishing twin because they don't know if it was absorbed by the body or absorbed by
cannibalism.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
So I like to think that she absorbed her brother, and I got her, got that little extra strength in her now. So we waited, found out, because at the time you don't know, you don't know which one became absorbed. Yeah. Not until you can see what the gender is, and it ended up being a girl, and so we knew it was gonna be Gwen. We already had the name, so she on December 21st of 2023. She was born.
Yeah, and I tell Ricky that he slipped the doctor an extra 20 because the baby looks just like him. Yeah. It's like, here, make her look like me, but then give the wife skin color. Yeah. Because my sister's very dark.
Yeah, she is dark.
And so the baby looks exactly like Ricky. And, but she's dark. Yeah. Ricky's not that dark.
No.
But she's got the skin. That's all she got.
Yeah,
dude.
She did.
The skin color.
I agree.
I was like, fuck, you slipped the doctor at 20, bro. And his wife laughs when I make that joke because it's like, dude, it's a spitting image of Ricky.
It is. She really is, and she's great. Learning to be a dad, it was, obviously ain't like anything. It's a challenge because it's a new step. But luckily, Bethy being around so many kids. Yeah. Because I don't even know what number she is now. 10 or something, right? 11? Anyways, a bunch of kids that she's been around and helped raise. She's kind of really, held my hand through the process, and she's very proactive with a sense of like her development and stuff like that. So that's why I feel like, she speaks really well. Well, not really well, but she's
at the age that she's at right now.
Yeah. She speaks. And early on we taught her sign language. So for the most part, we're not.
Oh yeah. She's really good at giving people the bird.
Yeah. We're not.
Just kidding.
Luckily, we're very fortunate that there's not a lot of guessing with her now. She, even early on, she'll tell you when she was hungry, she wanted more. So the guessing game of like, what do you need? What do you want? Yeah. Luckily, she's pretty good at being able to tell us what she wants or needs.
I've shared the story that I am very, cautious when I'm holding infants. Yeah. Because when I was like 16 years old, the infant that I held passed away like a week later. Yeah. So I've always been like kind of like, maybe while they're stronger, maybe I'll hold on to them. I don't want to be the curse,
Yeah.
But your wife, my sister-in-law, posted a video of her like maybe like a few months ago, and I commented on the video. I'm like, I'm kind of getting fond of this kid, and she sees me like, because some of the other nieces and nephews, they would see me and they're like the twins. They were afraid of me.
Yeah, I remember telling me.
They were afraid of me. Like one of them, Letty, my wife, has a video that says. She recorded the girls, one of them saying, come this way to avoid me. and they would see me, they would start crying. And until one day they had a little party, we had a party. There was a party going on, a gathering, and one of them was walking around with a tea set, and she was trying to get everyone's attention. And then I'm like, "Do you want to play tea? You want to have a tea party?" And she's like, "Yeah." Dude, I laid on the ground. I was on my laying flat on the floor, dude, and just playing with her with the tea. That's it, bro. Putty in my hand, bro. That's all it took. And I haven't had that with baby Gwen, because she's real, like she'll let me pick her up and everything. So it's like, at first, I was like I said, I'm it's just me being cautious, but knowing that this baby obviously is strong based on. He was made in a lab. Yeah. I got fond of her, and and I tell Ricky, "Damn, man, your fucking kid looks just like you, dude. Yeah. Just like you, bro." And today, they're here. They can have breakfast, and just watching her eat, dude. Dude, the onion, she spit that shit out quick.
Yeah, no,
fuck is this?
It's funny too when we feed her stuff that she doesn't like. Sometimes she's really good at eating what she likes. And then when she's done eating it, she'll spit the other parts out. Like she kept it in. So it's like she kept it on her side, would eat it, and then she's like, all right, this is gone.
Yeah, that's crazy, dude.
Sometimes she does. Not always. Sometimes she just spits the whole thing is coming out. Yeah, sometimes she does do that, which is kind of funny for us. We're like, she got all the onion out. But,
yeah. No, man, I know. I think when you first, when she was first born, you hit me up and we talked, and I just told you, hey, man, just beat them while they're young, bro. Yeah. Beat them while they're young.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's funny. I did a lot with a lot of people, because obviously, like anything, I want to set myself up for as much success as possible. So I had an idea of how I wanted to parent, but at the same time too, I want to know the real, like they say, oh, I'm going to do this when I'm parent, and the real parents are like, that's cute.
Yeah, not going to happen.
You'll learn.
Yeah, not going to happen.
So same thing. I was like, I have an idea how I want to parent, but that's how when I asked you, I'm like, what is more realistic, and I feel like a lot of people have given me good advice, stuff like that. Yeah. So, like I said, especially with Beth, she really kind of walked me through the process early on. Yeah. And all that, she literally left her on my lap because when she was born, I was injured, so I was off work for 3 months, and she went back to work after a month. So for 2 months,
what do I do?
Yeah, I was. For the most part on my own.
You're walking around like freaking Simba, like the monkey's holding Simba.
Yeah. So it was, but I mean, it threw me in the trenches, and at that point, you gotta step up. So it was cool. Yeah, it was cool.
And I see how proud you are of being a dad. I see how you are with her, and it's like, it is like I told you. I asked you a question once, and you were like, you thought about it, but you were like, fuck, you're right. I told you so. You know my story. I was going through hell and back. I loved the mother of my kids. But when my kids were born, it was a different kind of love. Yeah. Like nothing else. Like not that it didn't matter, but just nothing. The love for an ex, for my baby's mom, was not the same as the love for my kids. And that's what kind of made me stronger and made me one day to say, fuck this, I'm done. Because the love for my kids was a lot stronger. Yeah. And I asked you, hey, am I right? And you're like, you thought about it and you didn't really want to say it, but you're like, fuck yeah, I love my kid more.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it is definitely like a different type of love. Like I told Betty though, I was like, I feel like now, obviously, it's, our loves are definitely unconditional, but I think I still put Betty number one. It's only because I saw this thing, I was reading this thing, and it said, the way you treat your wife is the way that your daughter's going to see. Yeah. And that they're going to look for the same thing. And not only that, but your love for a child is unconditional because she's a part of you, where your significant other is your choice. Yeah. So because it's your choice, because again, your kid you're going to love because you're your kid. But when you choose to love someone else, like your partner, it's coming from a deeper spot because it's a choice. Yeah. You're choosing to. So that's why, I told her, I'm like, obviously, you two girls are my world, but I'm like, but if I had to put an order, I'm like, I think I put you first and then Gwen second.
I told the boys the same thing. They're like, because they say, well, they're my kids. Yeah. They're, well, no stab at the wife. They love my wife more than they love me.
100%.
And I'm like, and you know that.
100%.
And,
they make it known.
Fuck yeah, dude. They're like, Dad, if you guys break up, we're staying with Mom. Yeah. Like, dicks. And I told them, we had a conversation one day, and we told them, actually, I would pick my wife over you guys. Yeah. Like, what? because you guys are gonna grow up and go create your own lives.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna be left with mom. So
Yep.
mom comes first. It says it in the Bible, fucker. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Get out of here. So, but yeah, no, there is a completely different love.
It is different.
Yeah,
100%.
You love
It
your
is
wife,
different.
but
Yeah.
you have like it's like a different like
It is.
it's a different I don't know different kind of love.
100%.
But time to make Ricky cry. You guys were going for round 2.
Yeah. So because we had now 9 boys and 1 more girl. Ideally we wanted 1 boy, 1 girl. So we felt that it was time, and we talked to the doctors and everything. They said there's proper time, it's safe now, that we can start now for number 2. So we did, and
you wanted them both to raise
yeah, we wanted
close in age, right?
We wanted the close age gap, 2 under 2, I guess, as they say. So again, all Bethy's idea for the most part. She's the one that led the charge, at least. And yeah, we talked to the doctor. We started it. Obviously nowhere near expensive, still expensive, but nowhere near as starting it. But yeah, we did the same thing. We did 2 boys because again, same thing for the same logic that in case one gets absorbed, we still have the other one. So we put 2 boys in. And same thing happened. One became a vanishing twin. And so we're stuck with just the one, and everything was going great. Everything was going great. Enzo was his name. And every time we saw the doctor, he was always high percentile. I was like, no one ever told us that there was any type of sign of something. It was always like, oh, he's in the high percentile. He's growing so good. He's doing this and that. And then on a fateful night, things changed quick and dramatically. And my wife woke up that she felt like almost like I guess that she was peeing almost. And so when we turned on the lights, it was just a bloodbath. And so she's freaking out. I'm trying to calm her down a little bit. Like that's fine. It's fine. We'll go to the hospital. It's okay. We'll get checked out. Because for the most part in a pregnancy, spotting is normal. Because it's just the lining.
But not a bloodbath.
So I'm keeping the composure, trying to be hopeful. We go to the emergency room, to our local emergency room, and we get seen, and he's in there. He has a strong heartbeat still. So we're like, okay, cool. He's alive. We're good. But same thing. They're like, but you have to be seen by like a pregnancy doctor, whatever.
Like a specialist.
Thank you.
Yeah,
a specialist. So we went to Huntington Hospital in Pasadena, where we usually do our deliveries and stuff at. So we went over there, and I still had little Gwen, so I was dropping her off at the suegros, and they told us that that my wife developed a incompetent cervix. So it's pretty much the body thinking that it's going to pre-labor, but pretty much the body went into pre-labor early, and that it was going through the full labor thing, but he was only I believe 4 months, so he was still early in the development stage.
So it was like he's coming out whether you like it or not.
Yeah, he's coming, and he's 4 months though, but he's only 4 months developed. So with that, it was kind of like a panic, and we were starting making phone calls for second opinions. Like, is there anything we can do? I guess there's something about like you can stitch it to keep them, but at this point there was like, no, like it's this too far along. There was nothing, and so the doctor pretty much told us, look, he's gonna come and he's gonna be alive because he has a heartbeat, but his lungs don't develop until pretty much 3 more weeks.
So he wouldn't be able to breathe.
He can't breathe, and therefore eventually the heart's not going to get oxygen. So eventually his heart's going to slow down and he's going to stop.
Shit.
So we're like, okay, just kind of taking it in, and it was more difficult because Beth was like, I can hold him in. And I'm like, for 3 to 4 weeks. I'm like, your body's in labor.
Yeah.
I don't think, but obviously I'm trying to be, as supportive as possible, but at the end, the reality.
Yeah.
I'm
You accepted it.
Yeah, so I'm just trying not to be the Debbie Downer of like no, it's not, so yes, I was like, it is what it is at this point, we gotta just, I'm more concerned with her, because again, she has a history of, how's it called? Like when she gives birth, she bleeds out pretty much. So she needs to have the proper medications and everything there. So I told the doctors this. I'm like, hey, just, she has a history. And when she gives birth that, she has, uncontrollable bleeding. So I don't know if it's going to be the same thing or not, but just, she does have a history of that.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay. So they did the orders.
Hemorrhaging, right?
Hemorrhaging. Thank you. Yes. Of hemorrhaging. And so they did the order. And then, yeah, sure enough, eventually, he came, tiny little guy. My mother-in-law was there. And yeah, and then,
size of your hand, right?
Yeah, he was about, slightly bigger the size of my hand. He was probably like size of my hand to my middle of my forearm. Yeah, okay. He was decent size, you could tell.
But still too small.
Oh yeah, tiny though, tiny. You can tell.
They weighed him, right?
Yeah, oh man, it was like less than a pound or something like that.
Shit.
Yeah, tiny guy. But for his size, the thing that was crazy, for the size though, he was like, they were like, man, he's gonna be a big boy.
Yeah, you're real quick. Your wife had me Photoshop a photo, and so I helped her Photoshop. I think she wanted to do it for like the memorial or like the invitation for his like funeral or something like that. And so I helped her with the photo, and this is how tiny baby Enzo was. After I was done with the photo and I gave it back to your wife, to Betty. Letty's like, oh, let me see that. Oh, I'm like, what? She's like, that's baby Enzo. I'm like, oh, there's a baby in this photo? That's how tiny he was, bro. That I didn't even see that it was the baby wrapped in like a hospital blanket. I was like, oh, no way. There's a baby in this photo? Yeah, so sorry about that.
No, it was, like I said, he was, he was a little guy, but I mean, for where he was at, he was actually in the higher percentile, so he had a lot of good potential. And then so anyway, so he came.
Wait, real quick. You said he was gonna be he was long, right? He was gonna be tall.
Yeah, he had long limbs. So
after everything that happened, we there goes the joke again that Ricky paid the doctor extra to make the baby look like him.
It's funny. There's even at early stage, because I mean, for the most part, he's still fairly developed. And it's funny. We pulled a picture, and I think I sent it to you guys, where the side profile you still see.
Yeah. I'm like, dude, there he goes, Ricky paying the doctor again to make the baby look like him.
Yeah, no, it really did. And I don't know if I mentioned before in the podcast, but I don't know if anyone remembers, but I'm actually the shortest of my cousins. All my cousins are 6 feet and above.
Yeah.
So I was hoping he got that Pacheco 6 foot gene, because that would have been nice.
Because you're still what, 6'1"?
No, I'm 5'10" and a half. Yeah, so
I am taller than you, fucker.
Yeah, I haven't.
Nice.
If I wear those shoes, like the white shoes, then I'm 6 feet.
Oh, okay.
But no, standing normal, I'm 5'10" and a half. So yeah, so he came, and the doctor's like, yeah, he'll probably last like an hour.
Shit.
So, but I didn't hold him. I think it was more like, because after he was delivered, these doctors were like in a panic because they weren't her normal doctor.
Yeah.
And so they tried to grab what our doctor was available, and I didn't have any faith in these doctors. They were running with chickens with their head cut off.
Because she did hemorrhage, right? Hemorrhage?
Yeah, she was hemorrhaging bad again.
Hemorrhaging.
And not only that, but the placenta got stuck because it was still also in early development, so it got stuck inside. So that was the thing too. That was kind of like a dam, was causing. They weren't allowed to get all the blood out because the placenta got stuck, and it was pretty much causing blockage.
Shit.
So they're literally yanking on it, and she's just like screaming bloody murder. She looks like she's like pale because she's gonna pass out. And I was like,
so your mind is like, I'm losing my baby and my wife?
Yeah, so I'm there like, these doctors are gonna kill my fucking my fucking wife now. I'm like, they're not listening to what, like I told them all this prior.
Yeah.
I told him she has a history of this, and
I remember you called me fucking pissed. Like you were
Yeah.
like pissed at the doctors.
yeah, no, because I didn't have any faith in them, and then eventually they went to the ER to surgically remove the placenta and possibly do a blood transfusion. Apparently, they said that she was like minutes to seconds away from doing a blood transfusion. That's how much blood she lost.
Damn.
But yeah, at that point, still though, I don't know. It was more like so much was going on that I didn't want to hold Enzo without Betty being there, because I knew my family. Because now, when they wheeled out Betty, my parents came in now, and so it was my suegra or our suegra, and then my parents. So they're with Enzo, and so I know, okay, Enzo's covered.
He's getting the love.
Yeah. Let me focus in on Betty now to make sure that she's okay, because that's where my mind's at right now. I'm not too concerned with Enzo because our family's there,
And his destiny, his faith is.
yeah. But there's still someone, like, if I lose both, I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
So I was more trying to like just like comprehend and grasp and get on top of that, until I'll see, then one of the doctors there, who's our
Aunt.
our wife's aunt,
Yeah.
had me touch his beating heart, and it definitely did bring hope back to me, like hearts are supposed to.
Yeah.
So that was cool that she did that for me. And then the doctor came in shortly after and was like, hey, your wife's in recovery, so you guys can go in shortly. So me and Enzo,
Drink some water, dude. Drink some water. I'm gonna take a quick break, guys. All right, guys. Sorry about that.
yeah.
Okay.
So we went in there, and that's when we gave, the doctor gave Enzo to Betty, and yeah, we enjoyed him for probably about, he was probably in there for, or he survived probably for about, I think it was 2 or 3 hours, so pretty much double the time. So because he had a strong heart, very strong heart. And so it was cool. It was cool that he had a strong heart, and that we were able to, that he waited for, to be with his mom, so that before he passed.
Yeah.
And so it was cool. It was cool that he definitely did that, and that we got to experience that as a full family. Because I think if he would have passed before Betty was ready to see him, I think it would have had an even longer lasting effect.
Right.
That she didn't get to feel his heart and actually feel him, so she still got to feel him still, alive. And, so that kind of, I think, helped close that circle for her.
Yeah.
So, like I said, that was just, a very special thing for us.
Yeah. That's, I mean, I myself, who am not like I said, a big fan of babies, because I freaking, like I said, just my experience as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt your pain. I was driving to pick up my boys from school, and this certain song came on the radio, and I started fucking bawling, dude.
Yeah.
I started crying. I was like, I don't even, in my mentality, I didn't even know this kid.
Mm-hmm.
And I started crying for you because of the pain that you and your wife were just going through. And so the song ended, and I fucking hit repeat, man. Let it, get it out. And I know I said I'm trying to make Ricky cry. That was not my intention.
No,
this was your idea to talk about
no,
it.
Yeah, no, because it is good.
Yeah, so
it's like I told you earlier. Because Betty was going through all this stuff, I kind of calloused myself for the most part, because one, she's the one going through it. Right? She's literally going through the pain. She's going through everything else. She's going through the psychological effect, more so than me. So I felt that I needed to be the anchor of the emotional support. So I kind of calloused my emotions, so that way when she looks, we're not just both sobbing and crying.
Right.
And then only that, I had a Gwen with me too. So I didn't want both of us in tears, and we have this happy baby.
Yeah.
So because of that, I calloused my emotions, And I feel like, unfortunately, because of that though, I haven't really had I haven't gone through the proper emotional steps, dealing with Enzo's passing. So that's the only misfortune that I felt that I lost from doing that. But again, to me, it was a sacrifice that needed to be done so that way I can ensure that Bethy had the proper support from her husband, that it's just, hey, you know what? I'll sacrifice that so that way her that's going through it physically, psychologically, and definitely emotionally, I'll sacrifice that so that way she can, at least have something to, anchor onto.
I would have lost my shit, bro.
Yeah, no, it was
it
was tough.
My boys always say, Mom, when we're sick, can you take us to the hospital? Because Dad won't stop crying.
Yeah.
And when we found out that my son had IBS, man, I took him to the doctor. I took him to the hospital, their emergency room or urgent care. And I hate seeing my kids in pain, bro.
Yeah.
I hate seeing them in pain. And I'm like, fuck, man, just make me sick, man. Make me sick.
Yeah.
I'm fucking crying. The doctor comes in. What's going on? Who's in pain? Who's the one in pain? I'm like, he is. I'm just like, I can't see him like that. And so I would have lost my shit. So I give you props for that one, man.
Yeah.
I would have been like, that episode of SpongeBob when he's like in his mind, everything's on fire and he's running around.
Yeah.
That's that's me.
Yeah, it was definitely a tough time, and but luckily stuff like that, it definitely brought Bethy and I closer. It made us stronger.
Yeah.
Definitely appreciate Gwen a lot more, and at the same time too, kind of made us focus in because when we talked to the doctors and stuff, they just said, because we're like, what did we do? Obviously, the first thing you think of is like, what did we do wrong?
Well, yeah, you were really angry at the doctors. So
yeah, well, the doctors that at least took care of us that day.
Yeah.
So we got a new doctor, and everything that we liked actually at the hospital. We asked her questions, because we were like, we want to know, like, because obviously, immediately you're like, what did I do wrong?
Yeah.
Did we miss something? And the doctor pretty much said, look, it's not uncommon, but this stuff does happen, and unfortunately, you guys didn't do anything wrong. It's not like you guys, because she was kind of still being a little strenuous on like at work and stuff. So it was more like she said, you guys did nothing wrong. It's just something sometimes the body goes through that, and since you don't have a history of it, unless we would have caught it early. But again, it's painless, and your body just does it randomly. And when it happens, it's usually too late. So it's not like we did anything wrong or we missed something. Just like now, you have a history of it. Now, what we can do is now take precautions leading forward. So I think that's what we're going to do now is just take precautions leading forward. But most importantly, that we want to, just start getting healthy. Focus on health, I should say.
And I know after this happened, what happened to your wife and the hemorrhaging, I know she wanted to jump right back on it and get pregnant again, and you're like, fuck that. I almost lost you. And
yeah.
So obviously that was, we're talking, that happened in November?
Yeah.
So has your mind changed in the last 3 months, 4 months?
Not necessarily, because obviously I do want, we do want a boy. It's just,
you can have one of mine, bro. Right there.
Yeah.
And they already wiped their own ass, bro.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, we definitely do want a boy, but I think that isn't my priority right now. Priority is 1, focusing on Gwen. 2, focusing on our health. And then, I feel like once we're kind of back to at least somewhat back to even, then we can focus on now, okay, getting, putting in for another boy or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just, to me, like I said, I get it, she feels her clock is ticking, stuff like that. And I understand that perspective and everything, but I think we got to put ourselves in the best situation to where her body is going to, at least have the highest chance of succeeding.
Yeah, exactly.
So that I think that's what it actually look. Sometimes you have to read the signs, God, the universe, whomever, the higher being is telling us,
hold on.
Yeah. Hold on. So we gotta just read the signs, and like I told her, we don't have to, understand them, but we have to accept them.
Yeah.
So I think that's the approach we've taken, and I think right now, you know, that is, so I would say, probably one of her high priorities. But I think we have a fair understanding that, you know, we can find some common ground.
Yeah.
You know. So yeah, beyond that, I mean, yeah, you know, he's still there with us, and I like that Bethy really introduced his little urn to Gwen. So now, you know, she goes and she still talks to Enzo, little Gwen that is. She still goes and talks to Enzo. She'll point at his urn, want to go talk to him and stuff. So yeah, it's cool that.
Yeah, I know when your wife came over to have my wife help her with the cricket stuff to cut out the little angel wings and his name. Julian ended up sticking one of them to the back of his phone. Yeah. So he has Enzo with him.
That's
like
cool.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. Well, you know we're here for you, bro.
Yeah. You know, I mean,
I don't say this often, but I love you, bro.
Thank you, man.
I love you, bro.
I love you too, man.
And
yeah.
So this is I mean, anything else you want to touch on that, or
no? It's just, you know,
advice for somebody who's went through this.
It's always hard to give advice because the way people react, right? But I think at the end of the day, too, it's just knowing that no one did anything wrong. Don't blame yourselves. And like I told Beth, I think that helps me out a lot too, is that at the end of the day, if we ask questions on why, you can go crazy trying to look for that answer.
Yeah, exactly.
At the end of the day, it's not always about asking the question. It's just about understanding and accepting.
And then sometimes you're not going to like the answer.
Yeah, that's the thing too. So that's what I'm saying. Sometimes your best bet is just accepting what did happen because it can't be changed.
Yeah.
You know, if you're trying to understand so that you can better to reduce the chance of that happening again, that's one thing. But if you continue with the why us, why me, why did this happen? And, you know, the answer pretty much is just like, sometimes these things happen. You have to just, it may not be the answer you want, but you got to accept it.
Right,
you know?
right.
It's tough, but I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah. Well, hold on. All right, Rick. Well, something new that I've started. Well, first of all, thank you for sharing your story.
Yeah.
It is a heartbreaking one, and like I said, man, I don't want to be in your shoes, and but I do see the you know, you guys are, you know, in good spirits, and you know, you guys do focus your attention on my arch enemy, and it's the reason why this is the first time you podcast in over a year. So no, you've gone through a lot, and like I said, you know, just receiving that phone call that you were losing hope, that fucking broke my heart, dude. But you know, like you said it yourself, there's a possibility in the future.
Yeah.
So you know, you'll be good. Something new that I started, Rick, also is to all the parents that listen to the other parents that are on the podcast. Gwen is a year old.
Yeah.
So if you know, I always say that this is not for kids, but I really don't have a reason why this is not for kids.
Yeah,
just my potty mouth. Maybe I'm like such a saint that I don't want kids to hear me swear. If Gwen were to listen to this when she turns 18, so in 17 years, time capsule, what advice or what message would you have for her?
Oh man. I think the main thing right now is, at least if she was to hear us right now as an adult, it's just, one, do what makes you happy. So whatever that is, whatever that may be, because a lot of times I had a conversation with your Uncle Fernando, and we were talking about this. You know, we're good at what we do, but at the same time too, are we happy? Like, does it bring full fulfillment, enjoyment of what we do? And the answer is, for me, no. But the fruit of my labor, so my salary, allows me to do the things that brings me enjoyment and stuff like that. So don't get too caught up on the number sometime. Focus on what you're more passionate and that brings you true joy. And that will make you feel a lot better than doing something that you hate because you're just trying to earn a different type of salary or a certain salary.
Right.
So focus on your happiness, don't care about what other people say. Because at the end of the day, people only say these things because, they are envious, or they don't think that they could do it either.
Right.
So that'll be my message to her.
So in other words, kid, don't pick a career and get college debt.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Ricky, thanks again, man. Let me see here before we end this podcast. Again, guys, the hotline. I've asked in a past episode if you guys have a question for Officer Ricky or how Officer Ricky's been. I said that on a podcast, bro. Like, if you guys have a question for Ricky, where he's been, 818-806-8595. Again, Instagram is Ride With Me Podcast. YouTube is FTA Podcast. And if you listen on Spotify, hit that follow button. Leave a comment. Give it a review. I'm also on Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, Pandora, I think Castbox, something like that. And then don't forget to check out LABRANDPERLA on Instagram. Check out his website, www.per-la.com. And you heard Ricky. He gave the merchandise a review. He is wearing it as we speak. Mm-hmm. And Ricky, like I ended our podcast, buddy, thank you for riding with me.
Thanks for having me again, Andy.
Thank you for listening to Ride With Me, the Flat Tire Andy podcast. You can also listen to us on iTunes, Spotify, and Podbean.